Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey,
Hello.
and the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
What it do?
And I'm your host, Scribe Light, the Lord of Punishment. And today was a YouTube day.
Yes, it
was.
Apparently, like so many times recently, I've taken up the SDA spot of just having something awful happen on my night. Hello, chat. Hello, everyone. Hello, moderators. Hello, regulars. Hope you all are well. How are you guys tonight?
Well, I
I'm
was
good.
fine until, well, that's not true. I have a slight headache, but other than that, I was fine until I started talking to you and you started yawning, and now I can't stop you faster.
Yeah, I know. I don't, like I say, I don't know what happened last 5 minutes. I just started going completely crazy with my yawning. So I'll probably be keeping doing that as the hour goes on. Let's see. So, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones movies. Hit that like button if you have not already, and please share our stuff if you know of its existence, because you do now. Share it. Do we have any? Oh, sorry.
I was sent a picture
Okay.
of somebody who wrote our stuff, including our channels, on a bathroom wall. Now, it was in erasable marker, so they cleaned it off afterwards, but it's a great picture, and I thought I would share that because it's cute.
Thank you, Terry Diamantis. Pun in the title deserves money. Thank you. Now, I wanted to come up with something that referred to today's news without explicitly referring to it, on the off chance that some algorithm or something might nuke me for inappropriate content, of course, which we never delve into here.
No.
But yeah, so but before we get into the news, anything else from either Satsu or anything else we want to plug or talk about before we get there?
No. I've been playing Warframe aggressively, so if anybody wants to play Warframe, then add me.
All right. Let's see. Well then, guys, might as well get into the big news that happened in this last couple hours, basically. I'm going to read the latest version of this story from CNN. I don't know if they have all the details that have come out in the last 20 minutes or so, or at least been somewhat confirmed in the last 20 minutes, but we'll go over what we do know. Female shooter at YouTube headquarters dead after wounding 3 others, police say.
Oh?
A woman shot 3 people Tuesday at the YouTube headquarters in Northern California, then apparently took her own life. As people scrambled off the patio outside a cafe on the YouTube campus, a 4th person was hurt, injuring her ankle. San Bruno Police Chief Ed Barberini said the dead woman was found at the scene and appeared to have killed herself with a handgun, but the investigation was just beginning. Quote, "We know very, very little right now, and we probably won't know more until tomorrow morning," the chief said. The shooter is believed to have known at least one of the victims, 2 law enforcement officials told CNN. The shooter's motive was unclear, he said. The chief said he doesn't know whether the shooting was a domestic violence incident or not. Just as a addendum to that, it's still not necessarily confirmed fully, but the information coming out in the last several minutes or so is that one of the people she shot was either a current or ex-boyfriend, lover, something.
Mm-hmm.
And police are moving towards this being basically a grandiose domestic violence incident. Now, that's all technically not confirmed yet. We don't have an official statement or anything, but that's the information that has been trickling out in the last half hour or so. Let's see. And then they have a whole bunch of witness testimony about how they thought it was balloons popping. They didn't know what it was. So that's, for the most part, that's the story as we know about it right now. We don't know the lady's name so far as I know right now anyway. Thank you, Mr. LM002. I found this article the other day, and I don't have a Twitter to send the link to you. I'll post the link in the chat. Okay. I don't know if non-wrenched people can, but you can give it a shot, I guess. Or at least give us, if nothing else, you can type in the headline, and I can try to search for it that way.
Can I add something real quick?
Of course.
Isn't it crazy how rampant the the toxic masculinity has been lately?
Well, yeah. So the story, that's the story, but the bigger story, at least until we have more details on the incident, is the reaction to the story. But before we get there, thank you, Keith Hartung. I never get to watch live. Take some shekels, Monkey and Satsu. Your turn is coming.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's ominous. Let's see. I'm looking to see if Mr.
I hope they
LM
meant the money and not YouTube. getting
Yeah,
shot at.
Right.
Like I said, yeah, I was about to say that's just, like I said, awfully ominous. So, Monkey, you had some reflexive thoughts about this before we went live on air. What has been the social media reaction to the YouTube shooting before we knew the finer details, and now afterwards?
But before we get to the YouTube or the Twitter YouTube side of it, I want to talk about the press itself.
Okay.
I woke up, and at the time I woke up, this had already been going on from the news reports I saw for about 40 minutes. And I forget who it was. I think it was some black guy had tweeted out where he was watching. So I went and followed the links, and he was watching at Fox News. So that's where I watched the feed. And for about an hour before the police came out, they sat there and speculated about everything. They grabbed, seriously, there was one part I thought that the person they were talking to must have been a homeless guy they found on the street. And they were asking, what did you hear? And what he had heard was that somebody who had seen one of the people who had been shot told them that it was a female shooter.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, you can present this and tell a news story. Look, there's a shooting there. We don't know what's going on without making an ass of yourselves. A lot of information came out during all this. There was, what's her name? Laura Loomer keeps tweeting about how originally they said the girl had a headscarf, and there was supposedly a guy who was in a gray sweatshirt who was in on it too.
Oh, Jesus.
It's okay. I mean, literally, this was wrapped up, and they had the first news conference like 3 hours after the actual 911 call came in.
Yeah.
And these assholes couldn't wait that long before they started guessing and just grabbing any random stranger off the street.
Well,
now,
that's not new, though.
It's not, but I mean, I can't. In most of the other ones that I've seen, like you take any of the school shootings, it's always, we don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Fox News was actually showing their poor reporter wandering around begging people to talk to him.
Yeah.
They kept accidentally showing it. You could tell, like, oh, we're cutting back to our news affiliate, and then this poor guy's like, "Come on, man, can't you say anything?" It's like, oh my God, I felt bad for him. Real quick, you got a super chat.
Let's see. Scroll not too fast. Thank you, Mr. LM. A Vice article titled, "I get off on dominating women. Can I still be an ally?"
Oh, I saw that. I didn't read it, but yeah, I saw that headline.
I will find that article and I will work it into the show later on. Thank you so much.
And as predicted, or as you could probably predict, the social media response was even worse than the news because everybody took to their side. There's actually one guy who said, if this shooter doesn't turn out to be a white guy with right-wing leanings, I will eat my hat. And this is now his most successful tweet ever for all the wrong reasons.
All the wrong reasons.
Well, I want to see a live video of a hat eating pretty soon.
Yeah, that's a hard one to get famous for. Michael Ian Black went to to Twitter to tell us all about how it was the NRA, and when it turned out that it was a chick who shot. Now, we don't know for certain, but the rumors coming out, this was a domestic dispute. So all of the usual narrative falls away for some reason, which I don't really get in gun things. I mean, either the shooting is bad or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the narrative had to change. So he had to come out and change how he was saying things. It's still wrong. It's still the NRA's fault somehow. But where's that one? I want to find this one because I don't want to do it disservice here. I was never aware of this lady until today because she's being a giant cunt today. Where is she at here? Jenny Trout is her name.
Jamie Trout? Is she pregnant?
No. She just looks like she is.
Oh, okay.
But she's a writer. She's wrote several books apparently.
I need to write a book.
I'm sorry. She's apparently gone on another Twitter spree. So give me a second here to find the exact one. She's just been being a cunt all day.
Ferg's in the chat. Hey, Ferg. Long time no see.
Hey, Fergie.
What's up, Ferg?
Fergie. Oh, God. Yeah,
Well,
as soon as the shooting started, I started seeing the Sam Hyde memes going off, which is always classic, I suppose, in a gallows humor way. And also that someone decided to try to frame Mundane Matt as the shooter early on, which was just all sorts of like, oh, you got to be fucking kidding me.
There's also another great one, and sorry, Matt, it was funny. It's a picture of Matt where he's making a funny face. Say, my autistic cousin is at YouTube. We're having trouble getting a hold of him.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Oh shit, I cannot find this one.
All right.
Well, let's read one of her other great tweets.
Okay.
Where'd that one go? I just seen it.
Monkey, you're awful.
Yes, here it is.
Okay.
If you are a MAGA or a Second Amendment enthusiast, I legitimately do not care about your life, well-being, or the lives well-being of your family.
Wow.
I don't care if you can't defend yourselves against intruders or whatever. I just don't care if you live or die.
No. What a humanitarian.
Yeah, she's a sweet, sweet lady. Pretty sure she could eat her weight in hot dogs. But yeah, there's so much vitriol that was coming out against, the whole gun thing. My favorite thing is I was watching the Fox feed. Somebody put on there, don't worry, David Hogg's got his camera. He's biking from his house. Now, here's my problem with this. There's so many jokes I wanted to make. And I was nice. I only made like one on Twitter today, really. I'm glad nobody got... Okay, I don't want to say nobody not important. Nobody but the shooter's dead right now.
Right.
So I'm okay with that. And as we talked about, it's my natural instinct to go to humor. But just calm down and wait for facts, guys. Like I said, Laura Loomer is still freaking out because she like wants to make this about Muslims because somebody randomly mentioned headscarves.
Right.
Like, really?
Well, I mean, this happens every time. I mean, the first time that I ever noticed it in the media and everything, and this is going to, of course, date me particularly, but when I was watching the live coverage of the Oklahoma City bombing, the live broadcasters at the time, and I remember this so distinctly. I was watching TV, and one of them said, "Well, we don't have any information yet, but we can speculate that it's possibly international terrorism."
Yeah.
Or something like that, or like Middle Eastern terrorism or something. And I remember sitting there going like, so you know nothing, but you're going to make a statement that definitive. And I was only like in my teens at that point, but I knew that something was fucked up there. We as human beings want an answer. We want an explanation, and the competition in the news media to come up with the headline or the breaking news or to be the ones first with the facts and all that fun stuff. The old euphemism is speed kills. And if you go too fast, you're going to say things that are wrong. But then everybody does it. So you're not really held to account unless or until someone, gets hurt, like Richard Jewell or something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Richard Jewell or
some of the people here might be too young. Richard Jewell was originally painted by the media as the bomber at the Olympics.
Yes.
And in fact, he was actually
96.
Yeah.
He was like the first guy to notice that there was a suspicious package, got people out of the way, saved lives, and then the media turned and said, maybe he's the guy who planted it just to make himself a hero. And the guy's whole life was fucked up. And I'm also thinking of a guy who was identified on Twitter as the Dallas shooter of the cops a couple of years ago, but it was not the guy. It was just a guy that was like somebody posted the wrong picture or something. And so this guy was categorized as the killer before anything was really known. So yeah, I mean, everybody wants to get there first, but you shouldn't. And of course, if you're on the street and you're trying to get information, the only people that have any information for you aren't the cops because they're not talking to you. You only got the man on the street kind of thing. You take your chances. You roll your dice. And you can ask the person what they see. But, you shouldn't categorize it as necessarily confirmed. But if that's all you can give for the sake of airtime, I can't quite blame the news media for trying to get people information.
Let's go on just a little further and I don't watch news very often. I don't. I like to read news and if I do, it's usually catching something that I've already heard about, like like a David Hogg interview. So this is the first time I've actually watched Fox News in a long time, and I think the guy's name is Trey Grout. I don't know, Trey something. Right after the press conference with the cop. Now, the cop gives this press conference, and he tells us in this press conference that the shooting was first reported at 12:46. The police arrived by 12:48. And as they went through the building, they found, they identified 4 people with gunshots, or with what looked like gunshots, one of which being the shooter, who seemed to be, well, he didn't actually call it a shooter. There was one person who appeared to have suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So in this thing, he's told us 4 people have been shot, right?
Yep.
So they switch back over to Shepard Smith and this Trey dude. And Trey is telling us, from what the police just told us there, we don't actually know that 4 people have been shot. We know 2 people have been shot. And the other 2, they could have got, hurt while they were running around. I'm like, motherfucker, did you not listen to what you just covered? Okay, you have spent 2 hours of my life guessing about everything, talking to homeless men, showing me your poor homeless man. I said that like that's his name.
Jack Homelessman.
Jack Homelessman. God. Talking or showing us your poor reporter out there literally begging people to talk to him. You finally have information and you fuck it up.
Yeah.
How?
Well, CNN.
No, this was Fox. Like I said,
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I get the rush to news, but once you have it, if you're that much of in a hurry to get it, once you get it, shouldn't you, like, I don't know, use it?
Who knows? Maybe he had 2 people talking in his ear and he only heard half the information. Who knows? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. Anyhow,
I don't look to network news now as like the cream of the crop of journalism, so I don't expect much to begin with. I don't know. Maybe I thought my standards were a bit ridiculously high for CNN, but maybe you're holding a candle for Fox News.
Well, like I said, I know the whole thing about they have to be first and all that. I get it, but it still annoys me.
Sure, no, and that's why CNN pisses me off.
Information.
Yeah.
The cop had literally just stopped talking about it. Anyhow.
FYI, guys, just a warning. It's thunderstorming pretty aggressively over here, so I don't know if that's going to do anything, but just if I manage to vanish, just know.
Here we're expecting up to 12 inches of fucking snow.
Oh wow.
I'm expecting neither of those things where I am. So I don't know. What did you guys do to anger the god of thunder and the god of and Jack Frost respectively?
Well, Mother Nature just don't like Ohio as a standard. Like it's just
okay.
Michigan just sucks. I have said for a long time what we need to do to fix the weather in Michigan is nuke Canada to warm everything up. I still stand by that, especially now with Trudeau up there. And just want to say there's also vegan gains up there, so it wouldn't be a loss.
God. But all the maple syrup, monkey.
There's maple syrup here in Michigan. People don't know that. There's lots of maple syrup here.
No,
we also have cherries. Cherry and maple syrup. It's like the best thing ever.
Anything else we want to talk about the YouTube shooting for now, or shall we move on?
I am curious. I want to see what YouTube's response to this is going to be. Because I don't know if you guys paid attention. I posted it on Twitter. They came out just the other day and changed their rules on gun videos.
That's right. Yes.
And literally days after that, there's a shooting there. So I'm just wondering if they're going to go like full blown SJW on guns, or what's going to happen with this.
Yeah, I'm waiting for some kind of banner thing, condolences or something on YouTube's main page here in the next 12 hours or so.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Google
I
released
don't
a
know.
statement, but nothing of the condolence sort yet.
Yeah,
they did say we stand with Susan and her team or something like that.
sure. Yeah, well, the thing to watch, of course, in the next day or two is how people do their gymnastics over dodging the obvious question of is this female masculine, is this toxic femininity or whatever, and or the NRA and gun rights and the whole. Yeah, it'll be entertaining until the next one happens.
Okay, I do have something else before we go on.
Okay.
First, I have to do something here real quick. A friend of the show is having a birthday today, and I told him I would sing to him. You guys can join along if you'd like to. It is Jeff Holliday's birthday.
Jeff Holiday.
So, Jeff Holiday, and I told him I'd send him the timestamp if he wasn't here. Let's see. It is 9:21. All right.
Real quick. Thank you, Cryptic. Your state is lame, Satsu. I'm here now.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So we're singing to Jeff.
Jeff, are you out there? This one's for you. Happy birthday,
to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday,
dear Jeffrey. Jeffrey.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
That was beautiful.
Happy birthday, Jeff.
You didn't count down. You caught me off guard.
Yeah, I jumped the gun there. My bad.
You're so excited about singing to Jeff.
Well, I was excited because I remembered something.
Yeah, Monkey was excited to serenade Jeff Holiday.
Yes, I was.
Data said it sounded a lot better muted.
Yes, I'm sure. Okay, well, on the off chance anything comes up on that story, I'll keep refreshing it at CNN on the chance something else happens, but I doubt we'll know much more right now until the next police update. In the meantime, there was other news today. Not a whole lot, but apparently we're going to have a trade war with China.
Yay! Wait.
U.S. proposes tariffs on 1,300 Chinese goods. Fears of a trade war between the United States and China just escalated again. The Trump administration on Tuesday published a list of about 1,300 Chinese exports that could be targeted for tariffs. The United States plans to apply the tariffs to about $50 billion worth of goods to punish China for its theft of trade secrets, including software, patents, and other technology. A 25% tariff would be applied to all the products, according to the U.S. Trade Representative, a wing of the White House. U.S. Trade okay. I read that came out weird the way they wrote it. I was like, I thought the U.S. Trade Representative was like an individual. No, it's a department of the White House. What's the next part? Many of the tariffs would target the Chinese aerospace, tech, and machinery industries. Other would target medical equipment, medicine, and educational material, such as bookbinding equipment. Okay. In a statement, the Chinese embassy in the United States said China, quote, strongly condemns and firmly opposes the proposed list. Quote, as the Chinese saying goes, it is only polite to reciprocate, the embassy said, adding that China intends to pursue the matter with the World Trade Organization and enact, quote, corresponding measures of equal scale and strength against U.S. products. The tariffs won't go into effect immediately. The administration will hold a public hearing for U.S. businesses on May 15th. Even after that, it's not clear when the tariffs would be applied. So, yeah, trade war.
Yeah. It's been a long time coming, to be honest.
That doesn't sound Doesn't sound like a good thing to be happening.
It's not, but a lot of Donald Trump's talking points obviously are talking points that the right has used for a long, long time. And what's the word I'm looking for? The trade deficit has been a huge one of those in years past, and it's not surprising that Donald, as a businessman, is taking that track. I don't think it's a good thing for us. It might be an idea to talk to them and get better trade deals, because there are some problems with, let's say, cheap Chinese shit getting into our country and our stuff, like not having any real impact in their world, I guess is how I want to say that. But there's better ways to deal with it than just, all right, let's start a trade war, which can lead to a real war, because those are fun.
Yeah. It's hard for me not to think that maybe Trump thinks he's setting up a situation for some kind of deal to be made.
Well, absolutely he does. And so far he's been right on that stuff. Mm-hmm. But this one's a little different, Donald. I mean, it could work out still. But
I don't know if the Chinese ego will concede anything.
Well, I think the Chinese in general, based on what I've been seeing or whatever, I think they have been in a position where they've been getting cocky because they're like, America doesn't have the balls to do, anything to us or to pull a move like this. And I think ever since Trump has gotten to office and has really been hitting these people, not from a political perspective, but from a business perspective, both dealing with like North Korea and, all kinds of places or whatever. I think that it could kind of ignite some type of reaction out of them to make them be like, okay, this guy.
Well, no, and do you have a super chat? You want to get that real quick?
Thank you, Cryptic. The Chinese steals everything we invent.
No, that's funny. That's funny if you guys know Asian Scriptic.
Asian Scriptic. What the fuck?
I took my medicine, y'all. You have to fuck off.
Cryptics and Asian? Was that what you were?
What I meant
there
to
you
say.
go. All right, buddy.
Jesus. Now I lost my train of thought. Oh no, I do think that is part of Trump's appeal and his success, especially in the international market, that gets downplayed a little bit too much. We've had presidents, even Bush was not as hardcore as people want to make him out to be, other than dealing with Iraq. With everyone else, he was mostly a puss.
Which Bush are you talking about?
Actually, both of them.
Oh, okay.
Because again, except dealing with Iraq, and the only reason we went to Iraq the first time was because they actually fucked with Kuwait, and if they hadn't, we'd have just left them how they were. It's been a long time. It has been since Reagan, since we had a president who went, "We're American, fuck you," and that might not always seem like the right way to do things, but there are a lot of places in the world where that will get you, if not respect, at least a little bit of fear.
Well, we'll see if this roll of the dice pays off or not. I'm not sure yet that it's going to do us much good in the long run, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, well, I don't know necessarily good or bad that it'll do for us, but I do think the rest of the world is watching, and I think that that's important.
We'll do the one that Mr. LM requested real quick as we then we'll merge into MSS news. So Vice says, "I get off on dominating women. Can I still be an ally? ? Our advice columnist answers a question for the ages." Oh boy. Okay, so they have this in subheadings. What's the problem? A question sent to me on Curious Cat. I don't know what that is, but okay. What are the ethics of S&M for feminists? How can a woman be submissive to men and a feminist? How is it okay for me to get off on dominating or humiliating women, but consider myself an ally outside the bedroom? Well, first and foremost, most of that's fantasy, and it's consensual fantasy. So anyway.
Wait, stop there. what you do in the bedroom is not what you do outside. Even
Yes.
putting BDSM aside,
Mhm.
in the bedroom, chances are you have your dick out, and you don't do that in everyday life, unless you're doing something I don't. I don't walk around with my dick out all the time.
Lucky Seven says, so are they asking if Scribe can be an ally?
I said I don't walk around with my dick out all the time, and Lady Monkey yelled, "Yes, you do." Okay, fair enough.
Let's see. What am I not getting here? You're a good guy, right? Kind, sensitive, determinedly right on in a way that can be a little annoying at times. I can see that you're trying because you describe yourself as an ally rather than a straight up male feminist. Is there a difference? I guess there's a difference.
Male feminists shoot their women.
Oh, right. You probably knew I would make fun of you for pulling that. I suppose they did, if they're a constant reader of yours, I said. And I can see how exhausting this topic must be for a well-meaning man who wants to believe in the right things, but also wants to have good sex.
You can't have good sex without beating women.
Who wants to believe in the right things, but also wants to have good sex. So these two things are generally not compatible. Is that what I'm to understand? Okay.
No.
Because OMG, this issue is a never-ending conundrum for so many politically concerned women and the men who fuck them. I've spent the last 10 years trying to puzzle it out, and I'm still not really sure what I think, but I have spent enough time considering it to square it with myself day to day. What? Okay.
Well, have you guys seen this argument in regards to feminism before?
Yeah, I've definitely seen it.
I've heard various iterations of it, sure.
Yeah, for the most part, you can't be into BDSM and like women, even if you are a woman.
Thank you, Sanguine. No, you clearly can't be an ally. You enjoy something rather than a castrated sad sack that makes a sorry excuse for a missed chance at an abortion. Jesus.
Bam!
Thank you, Cryptic. China is making money off our R&D and intellectual rights. Their eyes are slanted. Doesn't mean they can get tech half off. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Asian slur.
So the seeming paradox of BDSM and the real world. Okay. The classic one to me, if you want to see what the distinction is between these two things, is you have, let's say, the woman who in real life is the boss, is in charge of everything, has to be very detail-oriented, is in charge of other people, whatever. And then in her private life, what does she want to do? Not be the boss. Letting go and having that power exchange with somebody else where she gives over control is a freeing experience for her. It's relaxing. It's allowing her to let the stress of the day go away and putting all of the control in someone else's hands so she doesn't have to make all the decisions for a while. And then people think it's a paradox where you have a strong, independent woman who likes getting spanked and called bad names and things while she's getting fucked. That's just how it works. And then the same things here. It's like in your private time, and if you love someone and they trust you, or you're just partners with somebody and they trust you, you can do whatever you want, you know, within the boundaries that you've set with your partner. And then outside of that, you could be, I don't know, pastor at your local church. It doesn't really fucking matter.
I think you're missing the point here, Scribe.
Am I?
You can't ever touch women in a mean way like that, even if they want you to.
It's not mean.
Yeah, it is.
It's not mean, Monkey.
Violent, and it's hang on, I'm trying to think like they do, and my brain's still turned on too much. Sorry.
It's masochistic, violent.
Yes.
Demeaning to women.
Yeah. It's terrible.
It disempowers them. It objectifies them. It degrades them.
Here's the thing. If you're into BDSM, you don't have to worry that you're a bad ally. If you rape women, then you have to worry about being a bad ally.
Because you also have to worry about jail.
Yes, as you should.
Okay, what do I need to know? Here are my basic rules. 1, do whatever you want in bed as long as it's between consenting adults. I agree.
Hello. Article over. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. But two. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't question what turns you on.
Oh, fuck off.
Come on, dude.
Wow. Okay, let's take these two again. Do whatever you want in bed as long as it's between consenting adults, but That doesn't mean you shouldn't be paranoid that what you like is bad.
You're a bad man.
My practical short-term advice is that if you're happy sleeping with someone who likes to be dominated and humiliated, well, we should all be so lucky. Okay. It can be difficult to find someone you really like with compatible kinks, so enjoy it. Don't question a woman's ability to be domed and still be a feminist. That isn't your place. Okay.
Of course
not. Your second question riled me up.
Wait.
Okay.
So he's supposed to question himself, but it's not his place to question her at all.
Apparently so. Well,
about kinks, specifically about kinks.
The author is Megan Nolan, just for reference. It matters.
Bleach Ultra in chat. Safe word, beta cuck.
Your second question riled me up a bit for this reason, because I've had men ask me that often while tenderly stroking the hair they'd finished pulling moments before. Ever hear of aftercare? I don't know. It's like, that's me talking, but anyway, back to the article. It's like, quote, I don't know, you just choked me for 10 minutes, but I'm not calling the police because things are weird in bed. And if I had to enforce my political beliefs every time I had sex, a man wouldn't be allowed to look at me without my permission, because that never happens in real life.
Feminism, guys.
Let alone have control of my body. But unfortunately, desire isn't really capable of being intellectualized. At least not in my experience, and sadly that means accepting I am turned on by things which are politically abhorrent. Okay.
It's sex, for God's sake.
Why? Wait. Hold on. So I hear all this kind of rationale type language and just like, oh, it's just the way it is. It's cool. Sometimes it's like that or whatever. In regards to a woman and her sexuality and how she's very self-aware of the general hypocrisy or whatever she's trying to point out. But we don't get afforded that courtesy.
No, like she just told us we have to examine it if we like it.
Yeah, this reminds me of, and I'm going to stop here because we got a lot of MSS news to get to, but this reminds me of a story that came out around Gamergate era time, where I think it was when Far Cry 3 came out. Or Far Cry 4, one of the two. It's probably Far Cry 4. Anyway, there was a game reviewer who was talking about how much he enjoyed running around and shooting people and blowing things up and all that. But he felt really bad because, it's violent and killing people and taking lives.
Yes,
it's like, dude, it's called having fun in a fictional situation where there's no one's being hurt. You're not actually killing anyone. You're just enjoying yourself. But somehow enjoying himself was confusing.
Well, to me, everything you need to know about that article is wrapped up in that last bit she's talking about. Mm-hmm. He needs to examine why he likes kinky stuff, but she shouldn't even be asked.
Right.
He shouldn't even console her afterwards, make sure she's cool with it all.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, aftercare is a disrespectful thing. No, it's not like making sure that your partner is calmed down and everything's okay. You check in with them to make sure you're in a right headspace and everything else. No, that's condescending. That's not compassionate. Okay. Anyway, guys, we're going to move on to MSS News and get some stories in here because we've been running short on time for those the last couple of days. So if you have news stories you'd like us to take a look at on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise we'll get to them all, but we'll look at as many as we can. And I'm going to scroll down until I recognize a thumbnail from yesterday, and then we'll move upwards from there. Lots and lots of people sent us the YouTube story. Thank you, guys. Okay, what's this? This one comes from Florida Ghost. Florida Ghost. It's and strangely enough, it's a Florida man story.
What old Florida man do now?
Well, let's see. Crestview man attacks stranger, flees naked into the bay.
Oh, all right.
A Crestview man who attacked a person gardening in his front yard before fleeing naked into Choctawhatchee Bay, if I'm saying that right, has been arrested. John Kyle Botello, 26, is charged with resisting an officer with violence, aggravated battery on a person using a deadly weapon, and battery on a law enforcement officer. According to the press release from the Walton County Sheriff's Office, the victim was working in his front yard when Botello punched him in the nose, kneed him in the chest, and then wrestled the gardening shears out of his hand. Botello began beating and stabbing the victim with the shears, knocking out his teeth and causing multiple lacerations to his head that required 20 staples to close.
Holy fuck.
The victim said he didn't know who Botello was and had never seen him before. The suspect only stopped when a bystander stepped in and attempted to take the gardening shears out of his hands. The suspect then fled the scene and was later found naked in the bay a short distance away from the victim's East Mitchell Avenue house. It took 4 deputies to retrieve him from the water. He balled up his fists and physically fought the deputies. He pushed, pulled, wrestled, and at one point tried to pull a deputy underwater. Okay.
That motherfucker on bath salts?
Why
am I roboting or are you roboting?
I didn't hear anybody.
Yeah, I didn't hear any roboting.
You guys are roboting for me, so I get paranoid that I'm roboting.
No.
Yeah.
Why did he get naked?
Doesn't say, just that's when they. So like sometime between attacking the guy and being found in the bay, he shed his clothing, I guess.
He was on bath salts, man. I'm telling you.
All right.
Let's see. Okay, so Colleen Bernier sent this one in, but I posted it as well. So and thank you, Sanguine. So was the message really just keep beating her, never go to aftercare? I guess it's like as soon as you're done like choking her out and fucking her, you just leave her there to whimper all alone and like treat her like shit. I guess she wanted. That's
how women like it.
Yeah, I mean, well, if that's what you've agreed to, some women like that kind of thing. But, most loving dominance, after the scene's over with, you calm down, take a breath, get them some water. Always have a water bottle ready for your partner, by the way, because, all the heavy breathing and the sweating can take a lot out of you. Have a blanket ready.
That same goes for if you're a fat guy fucking. Make sure you have some water there.
There you go. Thank you, Monkey.
Yeah, I've been a fat guy before.
So let's see. So this one comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier, and me, because I posted it as well. Phoenix mother charged with using stun gun to wake her teen son for Easter church service.
Oh.
Is that him?
Sorry, what?
I heard roboting. Was that you or me?
I don't know. Satsu, you're the tiebreaker.
I just said, oh. So
no, did I robot Satsu?
Robot. Satsu, are you with us?
Satsu?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Was I roboting just then?
No, you were not roboting. I thought you were asking him. Was he?
No, you're Satsu. You're the tiebreaker. Monkey says he heard roboting. I didn't hear any roboting. Satsu, did you hear roboting?
Well, hold on. Let's ask the robot.
What did he just pull on us?
I don't know.
Chat, okay. We can't trust Satsu. Did you hear anybody robots?
Jack Cochran says no one was roboting. Faith's application says it was Monkey. Okay. Anyway, okay. I'm going to keep going. We'll move on. Authorities say a Phoenix woman shocked her teenage son with a stun gun to wake him for church services on Easter. Phoenix police arrested 40-year-old Sharon Dobbins on suspicion of child abuse Sunday after her 17-year-old son alerted authorities. According to police documents, the teen did not complain of any pain, but told police he had 2 small bumps on his leg where he was shocked. Dobbins says she did not shock her son. She says she only used the noise from the stun gun to wake her 2 sons, who were refusing to get up for church. Dobbins was taken to jail and later released. She is scheduled to appear in court later this month. So, there you go. That's one way to treat your kids.
Don't those things leave marks?
Well, that's what he said. There's 2 little bumps on his leg where presumably the contacts hit him.
Sure, but wouldn't that be something the police could identify?
Maybe. Thank you, Sanguine. What, saying you can't trust the black man, Monkey?
No, you can trust black men. You can't trust Satsu.
Oh.
Right. This ain't about black people in general. This is about one particularly untrustworthy black man.
Well, this story ought to be most relevant to you two because you're far more prolific gamers than I am, at least video gamers. This comes from Green Death 13, and this is an article from PC Gamer.
Oh, I used to love them.
The headline reads, "Boss fights, good or bad?"
I hate them.
Chris criticized Far Cry 5 for its boss fights in his otherwise positive review. They remain a strange tradition of games and are usually used to cap off the end of a level with a challenge, even if they end up as misfires in a bunch of our favorite games. Do they still have a place, though? In this week's PCG Q&A, PC Gamer writers share their thoughts. Let us know your opinion in the comments below. I'm just going to read the high-level opinions.
Sure.
Because this goes all well. Samuel Roberts says, good, but only in the right games.
Exactly.
Tom Sr. says, good in the right games. Phil Savage says, mostly bad. Andy Kelly says, bad with a few exceptions. And Andy Chalk says, real bad. And Stephen Messner says, good in MMOs.
It depends on the game. I have played games where they like force boss fights in and it really sucks and it takes away from the game. But if you're playing like an MMO, is a great example of that. At the end of a dungeon or at the end of a particular wing of a dungeon, there's boss fights and it makes sense because you're fighting to get to that boss.
Yeah, it can be good depending on the game. Yeah. I know, like, some games do it right. Like, I know, like, a lot of first-person shooters have been trying to adopt kind of boss fight things, and they usually fail miserably. But even though Division got a lot of flack for just not being a good game, I do like the way they handled their boss fights. So, I mean, it can be done, but a lot of people are just shoehorning them in to create some illusion of fucking difficulty towards the end to stop you in your tracks if you're going too quickly through the game.
Yeah, if they're integrated into, I mean, depending on the game, of course, if they're integrated into the story somehow where they make sense, or it's part of the end of a chapter or something. I mean, that's usually how they're like chapter breaks for the most part.
Right.
Transition from one thing to another, whatever. And then of course you got games like Doom or something where it's not about, a story necessarily, but it's about an advancing level of difficulty and then trying to get past the harder and more difficult thing. I don't know. Yeah, like Half-Life 2 didn't really have boss fights.
The bigger problem with boss fights isn't that they exist. It's that so many of them make no goddamn sense to the story or to the game. It's just
they're just boring or full of fucking quick time events.
Oh, I hate that shit. It's like if you're gonna put a challenge in front of me, make it a challenge or something. Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna do a couple more here. This is one that I found, and I thought I didn't see anybody else post it, but I thought I'd bring it up real quick because it just struck me as odd that it wasn't getting more attention today. U.S. suspects cell phone spying on devices in D.C. For the first, sorry?
I said sounds right.
For the first time, the U.S. government has publicly acknowledged the existence in Washington of what appears to be rogue devices that foreign spies and criminals could be using to track individual cell phones and intercept calls and messages. The use of what are known as cell phone site simulators by foreign powers has long been a concern, but American intelligence and law enforcement agencies, which use such eavesdropping equipment themselves, have been silent on the issue until now. In a March 26 letter to Oregon Senator Ron Wyden, the Department of Homeland Security acknowledged that last year it identified suspected unauthorized cell site simulators in the nation's capital. The agency said it had not determined the type of devices or in use or who might have been operating them, nor did they say how many it detected or where. Are we not spying on everybody else too?
No, we wouldn't do that.
Yeah, none of this ever surprises me or shocks me anymore. So it's like, okay. What's this? What?
Now, again, just because we're doing it doesn't mean that we should allow others to, but the feigned outrage is what gets me. Those bastards are spying on us. Yeah, come on.
Okay, so YouTube. What? Okay, YouTube. Lots and lots of people send us YouTube things. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Big story today.
What? Okay, one more. We'll do this one from Jack the Motherfucking Cockring. This comes from the College Fix. And this headline is something else. Women might get raped if they debate men, so this college debate tournament banned men.
What?
Okay. It's unfair, it's sexist, and women might get raped. That's why a special debate tournament held at the University of Vermont this past weekend banned men from competing. Organizers and participants in the North American Women's and Gender Minorities Debate Championship told the Associated Press.
Okay,
Women
I'm going to
and
need all
gender-
you guys to stop raping so we can have some common decency here.
North American.
Maybe they meant owned.
Real quick. North American Women's and Gender Minorities Debate Championship. Gender minorities. Men are the gender minority.
Yes, but not in America where they are less of the population. Okay. I know it doesn't make sense, but that's the truth.
Rather than admit the deep sexism inherent to their view, they claim that women, quote, have to be that much better than men to overcome bias on the part of many judges and, quote, point to statistics that show they are less likely to reach the top echelons of the activity.
Maybe it's because they suck.
Additional quote, there is also a lot of sexual predation that happens in the debate community, said UVM debate director Helen Morgan Parmett. Quote, the tournament, I think, provides a safe space where people feel they are debating other women and their bodies aren't necessarily on display. It's a debate tournament, not a bikini match, for fuck's sake. What the fuck?
So are there guys, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh about this because this is going to be horrible, but are there guys who just like sit around watching women's debate waiting to rape them?
According to this, because debate leads to rape.
Oh, I'm going to get her.
This just in, women are stupid and weak. We'll tell you how today.
I can't imagine there's a lot of guys, sitting in the debate hall listening to this, beating off, waiting for their chance to jump on one of them.
Well, that's because you're not really using your imagination now, are you?
Of course, if it's a women's and quote unquote gender minorities debate chant, why would men be there in the first place? I don't understand.
Now, are trans? Okay, I forget which is which. Trans men are the women who want to be dudes, right? Or feel like dudes. I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anymore.
If you were born with a vajayjay and you go into this thing because you want to be a dude, you feel like you're a dude, are you allowed to participate because you still have one, or are you not? Well, will nobody rape your vajayjay now because you look more like a dude?
They would be a gender minority in that regard, then, I guess, maybe, because they're trans.
And nobody rapes them. I think I might have just solved the rape problem there. Girls, I'll just say you're guys. Nobody will rape you. Rape over. I win.
Yeah. So allow yourselves to be banned from the debate, and you'll be fine.
Yes. The end. I just can't believe how much we are regressing as a society. And I know we've talked about this before, but I mean, debate should be one of those places where equality is pretty easy. It's not a physical test of strength. It's just who can argue better. And it should be, men can go right up against the women with no issues. And even there, we're going to fuck that up because women need special treatment because they're equal.
Well, what I don't get is, are they talking about the women that are on stage with seemingly hundreds of people looking at them at once? What is it, stealth rape? Like, are there like ninja rapists out there?
I don't even know. That's not funny, y'all.
Like, how exactly does being on the stage with numerous people watching you the entire time open you up for rape?
Apparently, it's a big problem in their community.
Thank you, Sanguine. No, it sounded like they were saying women aren't good at this, so ban men. It always takes feminists to say the most anti-woman shit I hear.
No.
They wouldn't be doing that. They wouldn't be making an admission that they don't know what they're doing or something on this particular debate team, just that men are bad, therefore reduce our competition.
Sanguine, you know better. Ninja rapist, I was thinking Narepo.
Oh.
What?
All right, well, on that note, YouTube time. Narepo.
Yeah.
Satsu, what have you been up to today?
Nothing on my main channel, but I have been I found the list that I made because a lot of people were asking me about it, of 100 anime that I recommend. So that'll be coming out soon. If people have been looking out for that, I'm gonna go ahead and get this video done because I've been fucking around and procrastinating way too long. So I'll be working on that. But as far as the main channel goes, there's some things in the backlog, but I didn't do anything today.
Monkey, what have you up to?
I spent my day sleeping, so I didn't do anything.
Any Grand Monkey stories?
No, she hasn't been over. She'll be over tomorrow, though. She can come hang out.
I didn't do anything today video-wise except look for potential content. It's kind of a slow day in that regard. I found a couple of odd videos that at first I thought, is this something I want to do a video on? And I listened to it and I'm like, no. There's a TEDx talk. There's a TEDx talk that came out today where the guy is on the stage. He's talking about the title of the talk is something like I learned not to swing my arms around or something. And it was this guy talking about how when he was a teenager, he was going into high school and he felt different from the other kids. I was kind of struck by the fact that it was what I would call now a cliched story of the realization that you're gay.
Okay.
Because like everything half the stuff he was talking about could be attributed to any teenager, hey,
baby,
having to integrate into a new social group or worrying about their appearance and all this other stuff. But with the added aspect that he also found out or discovered that he was homosexual. And as I listened to this, I thought this is so common a story now that it doesn't even strike a chord with me. Not in the sense that I was like unempathetic, but just that it's not special anymore, which I think is a good thing, maybe.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, that's what they were aiming for, right?
Well, maybe. I don't know, because I didn't watch the whole video, but I kept waiting for him to like make some political agenda statement or something. But if it was in there, it must have been way at the end of the video or something. I just thought, there's nothing here. There's nothing to comment on or mock or anything. It's just a guy talking about his experience, and it's like, okay, well, there you go. Denigrating someone.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, denigrating or trying to make fun of somebody just over the course of, their life experience that they're not trying to, demonize or politicize it or anything. At least I'm not at that point. I just thought, this isn't really content.
No, but it is worth mentioning in what you mentioned there is that it's not a big deal anymore.
Yeah.
And it's actually been that way for a few years now where, if somebody, I came out, like, everybody like, so?
Yeah.
We don't care if you're gay. And that's a good thing. It really is.
Yeah. Like I say, it just struck me as I listened to it, just how, like I say, in relative terms, how ho-hum his story was.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah. And like you say, that is a good thing in the sense of it's not a big deal anymore. And it is interesting for those of us that have lived long enough to see both sides of this situation, how that would not have been ho-hum when we were kids.
Oh, yeah. It would have been, you're gay. Your family's never going to talk to you again.
Right.
And everybody you know is going to hate you. So you're going to have to start doing drugs and hang out in the homosexual community.
Right.
And I don't mean to stereotype that, but that's pretty much it. You had two choices: stay in the closet or come out as fantastically gay.
Right. Yeah. And then we're talking about like this is how it was back then. We're talking like, well, as far as my lifetime's concerned, the 80s and into the late-ish 90s. So
sure. Yep.
Anyway, yeah, but that's a long way of saying I didn't find anything to work on today. But I do have a backlog of things that I'm going to review just because some things jumped out at me before. But I might take a break for a couple of days and work on some other projects and things. So we'll see. What else? So YouTube drama today. I see that you and Monkey, you and I Think I'm Real are still fighting over Weibo's grandma.
We stopped that fight today, and I was making fun of him for having read Twilight.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, he's talking about being on Team Jacob.
Yeah, that was actually a fun exchange. No, there was some a little bit of drama on there, and Weibo asked us to talk about it. Somebody's giving her shit about calling herself a Polak.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
They actually said that it's literally the same thing as saying nigger, kike, or spick. And I'm like, no, because they will still say Polak on TV. She's trying to explain to this idiot, you take the power away from the words by not letting them have power. And this guy's like, no, it's the word. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
That's like one of my earliest social justice experiences with my social group several years ago, when we were at a movie, and we were it was a whole bunch of us, and we were talking before the movie started, and somebody said, I got totally gypped. And this friend of mine who I'd known for years, who'd always just been sort of on the same wavelength as everybody else, he kind of leans over and says, that's a racial slur, right?
Yep.
And we all look at him like, huh? It's like, it's derogatory to gypsies, those people that were killed by the Nazis. From? Yeah, being gypped. Yeah, gypsies.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, on the one hand, a lot of people, I knew that. I knew that that's where the reference was from. A lot of people there also did not know that. But we're all looking at him like, so? Because that was not the context in which it was used. He wasn't insulting Romanians or the Rom or anything. He was talking about he got cheated. And like, well, that's a negative stereotype. Like, but that it. And so yeah, that was the first
nobody
time.
Knows that.
Literally nobody knows that. Literally nobody meant it that way. And even when they did, and so, yeah, but this guy had to be on the high horse about it. And for a while there, we would intentionally use that phrase around him just to get his hackles up. And some of those people, I hate to say it, some of the people that were in on the joke for a while are the same people now who have gone completely to the other side. In the time since then, in my previous social group, and it's very sad. But yeah, Polak and all that fun stuff.
In chat, press 1 if you knew that's what gyp meant. I'm curious because I'm 42 and have never heard that. It makes sense, but I never heard that.
Yeah, I don't know where I learned that, but I've known that for a very long time. But again, I've never used it in the context of I'm calling someone a gypsy. I'm using it in the context of I was cheated or I was bamboozled or something.
Look at all you racists, man. Why y'all know all that? Fucking racist people. Now, press 2 if you use it.
Once in a blue moon, like I as I was thinking about that, I was like, when was the last time I actually used that in anything? It's not a frequent usage I have, but
I use it all the time. I didn't know.
Well, monkey, see.
I'm the accidental rapist. My God, racist.
The accidental rapist,
racist
monkey.
Jesus Christ!
What did you slip on a banana peel and just slid into her? What the hell, monkey?
I was at a debate. You see.
Yeah. Well, see, monkey, the reason why is because your white privilege blinds you to your racism.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so yeah.
They're all horrible people in chat. They all knew this and still use it. Man.
Webonski Joneski is a Polak.
Yes, she is.
Love
you, Weebs.
The only other YouTube drama I saw was this, like the evolution of Kurt Eichenwald over the last 12 hours.
Oh my God, he is in complete meltdown.
He's in nutbag territory. Vanity Fair and MSNBC have completely distanced themselves from him. Thank you, Sanguine. Never allow anyone to gyp you or Jew you out of your money. Now that's the one that I haven't heard that one used often at all, honestly. I've heard it used, sparingly, but most times if I hear somebody's talking about being cheated, they say they were gypped.
Whenever somebody uses the term "Jew you out of your money," I think of this little video I saw online called "Racist Bassist." Y'all need to look it up. Yeah, it's a dude who plays bass guitar, and is also a full-time racist. And he does them both at the same time.
A full-time racist, is that a vocation now?
Oh yeah, you should. You guys should check it out.
Yeah, but Kurt Eichenwald, as somebody pointed out, that he keeps being surprised people tweet out or take screenshots of conversations he has with them or emails that he sends out. Like he shouldn't expect it by now that if he sends like Ben Shapiro an email, it's not going to get, posted online somewhere.
Yeah, well, he had the exchange with the gamer dude. What's his name? Something in gaming comics. I forget. Mediker went over it in his video. But diversity. Yes. Thank you. Diversity in comics. And all of that stuff came out, and it was insane.
Yeah.
But if you're watching this stuff going on right now, because for those of you who don't know, Kurt Eichenwald emailed Ben Shapiro about what's his name, Kyle Kushniv? I don't know how to say his last name.
Yeah, the Parkland survivor who's not part of the anti-gun troop.
Yes, and said that he had a conservative psychologist look at the DMs between him and Kyle, and it's determined that Kyle is insane. Now, for the record, Kurt has also recently claimed that his interactions with Kyle were a mistake. He thought he was talking to someone else. So, yeah. So he's got these two things going on at once. He thought it was a mistake, but the guy he was actually talking to, that makes him look like a complete dickbag for the way he was talking to him, is actually insane. Which, by the way, is why you can't trust psychology. Just throwing that out there, Weebo.
Yeah, Scientology all the way, yo.
Yeah, it's this dude is just in full meltdown mode. It's like, there are two people in the world right now, I think, who should probably be removed from Twitter for their own safety, not because I want them silenced or for their own well-being. One is, of course, Donald Trump, because wow, dude, and two is definitely Kurt, because one, if you don't know, Kurt once had a epileptic fit because somebody made fun of him on Twitter.
No, but somebody sent him a flashing GIF.
Yeah, it was the flashing GIF. Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And he looked at it long enough to have a seizure. So you got to be careful out there, Kurt. Oh, apparently I'm roboting again. Sorry, guys.
A little bit.
You were, but
it was passing. The only other YouTube drama I know of, and this is maybe obscure for some, but not obscure for others. I just caught the update on Darkside Phil. Now, Darkside, there's a great video that kind of breaks everything down called Down the Rabbit Hole with Darkside Phil. I've been peripherally keeping tabs on Darkside Phil for years. But now it's apparently reached a head. Apparently, so Darkside Phil is a gaming YouTuber. He's been around for like 10 years or something. He's a very controversial figure for many reasons. But anyway, he has been begging for money because apparently he didn't register himself as a business in the state he lives in, since he's a YouTube gaming channel and has like products that he sells and a whole bunch of other things that walk into business licensing laws and stuff. Mm-hmm. Consequently, he hasn't paid business taxes the entire time he's lived there. And now they're all coming to a head, he says. And so he has until April 15th or something to make the first lump sum payment of the taxes he owes for various things. And so he's begging his fans for money. Otherwise, he's going to have to sell his house. If you know the Epic of Darkside Phil, this is sort of like Schadenfreude to the extreme. And so I don't have any problem sort of watching this guy flail about because he brought this all on himself. He's not the victim of someone else's evil deeds or something. So anyway.
Well, Mediker did a video on him, right?
Several.
And yeah, I don't have any sympathy for the guy because one, business tax is not something new. You don't pay. He's not going to have to pay some special tax for it. This is stuff that he should have known if he's running his channel the way he is and his other quote businesses. But you can also get extensions on your taxes. You might have to pay a little bit more. But this is all stuff. If you watch Jim's video, this dude's made plenty of money. And the problem is he does what so many people do. And let me give you some serious advice out there. If you start making any kind of money on YouTube, save some of it, because you will have to pay taxes. Yes. And it is a lot different when you have to pay the complete tax out of your own pocket than when your employer's taking it for you.
Right. I mean, so, I had to pay taxes on the YouTube money I got from last year. A couple weeks ago. It's like I had to add that in to my other tax forms, and I had to pay tax on it.
But what happens with so many people is they make that. That's why, I mean, I've said this before. I sincerely hope like the Kumite guys, because they are making good money right now. Mm-hmm. I hope they're paying business tax. And the difference between business and your personal tax usually is that a business tax you're paying at least 3 times a year. So that, you know, you don't end up swamped with it. It's just much easier to track, and the government prefers it that way. But you still want to save that money, period, to pay your taxes. Yeah, Data's right. Set aside about 40%, because with your state, if you have local and your federal taxes, you're going to pay about 40%, depending on where you live.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know of any other YouTube drama. So unless there's something else, we can try a deep topic. Oh, thank you, Sweet Chili Tea. Have you all seen the Change the Channel document that former That Guy with the Glasses producers released? No. I know that something, I heard rumors that something was happening over at Channel Awesome or That Guy with the Glasses. I don't know what the details are, so I'm sure I'll find out sooner or later from like Medicare or otherwise. I suppose I could look it up myself. I did see the Down the Rabbit Hole episode on Spoonie, which was God's the Spoonie one, and Noah Antweiler. That guy's story is just so fucked up. Anyway, for those of you guys that know who Spoonie is, yeah. So deep topic.
Sure. What do you want to talk about?
Oh,
see what I did there?
Yeah, you got me. I don't.
Okay, I actually have one. I have one. Okay. This has come up a couple of times in the last few days. I was accused today of being disingenuous.
Okay.
What?
Well, no, here's the thing. I wasn't being disingenuous at the time. I can be, of course, I can be a sarcastic jackass. That's a well-known fact about Monkey. But Brianna Wu, we're going back to the shooting for a minute. Did you guys see Brianna Wu's tweet about this shooting?
No.
Real quick, Data Wasteland says atheism is unstoppable is coming on Warski gun control talk. Oh Jesus. Well, that's gonna get some views. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Brianna Wu put out a tweet today about how she's going to stop shooters. And what was her list?
You mean if she gets elected, you mean?
Yes. God, I wish I had brought this up. See, if I had thought that this was going to be our deep topic, I'd have had it ready already. But one of the things that she wants to do is insist on having. Oh, here's her actual quote. I won't send #thoughts and prayers to @YouTube employees. I have a 3-point plan to address our gun crisis. A, if you own a gun, I will mandate that you carry liability insurance. B, I support broad, outright ban of all assault weapons. And C, I will mandate gun safety classes. Now, say whatever you want about the shootings that have happened, the mass shootings. None of them have involved gun safety. Yeah, the woman who went into YouTube today, and shot what we were told is her ex-boyfriend or her boyfriend and 2 other people, didn't think she was, drawing them a picture. She didn't think she was bringing them flowers. She went there specifically to fucking shoot them. Mm-hmm. Gun safety. I've seen this pop up a couple of times. I saw it after Parkland, and it comes up a lot. Is this idea that we're going to force people to take gun safety courses? Now, I don't necessarily have a problem with mandating gun safety courses. Mm-hmm. Not in and of themselves, but as a response to shootings. Every time we have one of these shootings, everyone who has an agenda in the gun control, gun freedom debate comes up with their side. It doesn't matter if it's fucking relevant or not. So I put up a post that says, this as response to mass shootings is stupid, and it's even dumber than, making sure everybody's 21 before they start killing people. And somebody accused me of being disingenuous. I'm like, how am I being disingenuous there? It literally makes no fucking sense in this scenario.
Right.
And the response was that, well, obviously it's just a stall so that people can't get guns, and it gives them a chance to cool down.
What?
Like, well, even if that were the case, then that's them being disingenuous, not me. That's literally them being disingenuous and not me. But a couple of times recently, when I've made logical, I got that same thing when I pointed out in my video that raising the age from 18 to 21 to buy a gun is just saying we're okay with 21-year-olds killing people, or at least more okay than an 18-year-old doing it. They're like, that's disingenuous. It's like, no, that's following your fucked up logic. And I'm getting annoyed by that. So,
and I'm getting vacuum cleaner noises from Satsu.
Satsu, is that Squishy helping you out?
Please, Squishy, don't vacuum.
I think maybe they just like throwing out the word disingenuous, like people like to throw out straw man. It's just like it sounds intelligent or something. I don't know.
I'm getting so tired of people misusing words and phrases. It's pissing me off. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. LM. Deep topic. If you're balls deep in a woman and she suddenly revokes consent, for that fraction of a second it takes for you to pull out, are you guilty of rape under the feminist lens? If she revokes consent at any point and you're still in the course of something, technically in California, that's rape.
Yeah, you have to stay right where you were. I mean,
yeah, you have to stop.
Balls deep.
Yeah, you just have to sit there and wait
until she says you can take it out, or she queefs and you fly out.
You say, may I remove myself? Thank you, Gregory Hurst. Because when someone shoots up a place, it's because they didn't read the safety instructions. And if only Nicholas Cruz had been insured. Well, that's the other thing too. I was thinking about this. Monkey was saying it. Even if let's say, for the sake of argument, that and we don't know where the shooter today at YouTube got her gun, or if it was hers, if she stole it, whatever. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that ye random shooter doesn't have to be YouTube, legally owns a gun, did go through the safety class, the mandated safety class. The gun that they have isn't an assault weapon; it's just it's a revolver. It's not even a 9mm. It's actually like an old 6-shooter, and have insurance. Do you think the insurance company would pay off on an intentional shooting?
Oh,
yeah. So it doesn't mean shit. If a gun goes off accidentally, if there's some kind of, I'm not even sure what the justifiable situation would be for gun insurance to kick in.
One, insurance companies wouldn't cover that. It would be too
intentional.
Well, there's too much of a liability there, because people get the idea of insurance all wrong.
Real quick, thank you, Nope. If she revokes consent a week later, it's rape.
Yes, true story so far.
That's also true.
The idea of insurance is a shared risk pool.
Right.
And the higher the risk, the more you're going to have to pay. And it's actually a kind of another disingenuous argument from that side, because they know nobody's going to insure this kind of thing. They're not going to insure gun owners because there's too much of a risk of something like this happening.
Because that's all guns do. They're meant to kill things. There's not. I mean, if the gun goes off and it only damages property, well, you have insurance for that property. You don't put insurance on the gun.
Yeah, and there's when it comes to cars, because cars are actually far more dangerous than guns are. But you also have a lot more users, and it's something
they're not designed to kill either.
No, but they do. Looking at it from the risk perspective, though,
yes,
they are far more dangerous. Mm-hmm. But they are also far more necessary than a gun is.
Yes.
This isn't the Old West where you have to shoot your food just to survive. So yeah, the insurance companies would be, we're not going to cover that, and nobody would be able to get insurance, and then nobody could get a gun.
Okay, the cops are coming for somebody. It's not me. So which one of you is it?
Shut the fuck up! I'm trying to hide.
Satsu.
The black guy, of course.
Hide in the rain.
I have an unpopular opinion.
Sure, go ahead.
Don't you think that gun training and prepping these people who are probably going to shoot up places anyway because they're already crazy would be a bad idea? I mean,
yes.
Like if a person is just like, you know, they don't know anything about a gun, but they're crazy anyway, and they manage to get their hands on a gun and they go and shoot up a school, I would think that the fatalities are probably lessened by this person's lack of knowledge of how to use a fucking weapon properly.
Well,
no, man, they played Call of Duty.
No, in general, I would not argue that some form of training should be intertwined with getting a gun license. Because I mean, how many times have we seen where somebody's got a gun, they just set it out on their counter, and some kid picks it up? You know, now maybe that's just being plain dumb, or maybe if they had to go through the situation where they're told, you know, always keep your gun locked up. Here's how you do this, that, and the other thing. If it would save anybody's life for having drilled it into somebody's head who's an idiot, I'd be all for it.
Well, yeah, we just had that case where the 9-year-old killed his sister.
Yep, over the game controller.
And you know, there's we all know you're supposed to lock up your guns, but maybe if it was just beaten into that idiot's head, her one child would still be alive, and the other one wouldn't be a murderer right now.
No, like I say, the odds of it actually getting through to somebody who's a complete moron are slim. But if there's even the slimmest chance, it's going to prevent a little kid getting a hold of a gun that's being left out recklessly. I'm all for it. You know, I mean, of course, you can never prove what doesn't happen, so to speak. But anything that can increase the odds.
If you're talking about teaching them to aim and shit, I'm with you. Because that could be bad in some situations.
I don't know. Well, I'd rather they aim at the bad person than miss and hit somebody they shouldn't.
I'm looking at it more of the perspective of like this chick at YouTube. If she knew what she was doing, she would have killed all 4 of them.
She's probably too emotional. She wasn't stoic enough to aim straight. I mean, I guess that's the upside to female shooters.
Then we need training for voting too. For me, I don't have a problem with the safety course. Anything past that, I think is for you to do on your time.
What else? I can't think of any other deep topics. You got anything else, Satsu?
No.
And
monkey.
If it is a government mandated safety course, I feel like they should have to pay for it. I feel the same about driving tests, by the way.
Yeah, driving tests. Well, in some places they've completely privatized the actual training part of the driving thing. Sorry, what?
It's expensive.
Yes. Yeah, I had to do my driving stuff. All testing has been privatized. The issuing of the licenses is obviously still the state's department, but they've shoved off all the responsibility of testing onto driving schools that then have to pass that information on to the state for qualification of license.
My oldest son had to take his test twice, and the first time it's because he got a bitch who lied, flat out lied. I was there. He had to back into you got to try backing up into a parking space. And he did it. He was fine. And she's like, oh, you're over the line there. I'm like, bitch, we can see the wheels. No, he's not. Because I was outside of the car. I'm like, you can see the wheels. They're not on that line.
Wait, yes, monkey, was she being disingenuous?
Oh, my God. And then the cunt, he's got to do this. Here in Michigan, apparently you don't have to parallel park.
Oh, lucky you.
No. You have to do what they call side parking.
Side parking.
Yes, and the difference is, you know how when you parallel park, you back in and then you go forward again?
Yeah.
In side parking, every time you switch gears, it's a point off. So my son, who's been trained to parallel parks, but that gave him one more shift than he should have had, which is what failed him.
Was he using a stick and not an automatic?
No. If you shift
Oh.
to reverse and then forward.
Oh,
Yeah,
so he adjusted one time too many with what the fuck is that?
Yeah, and he did it perfectly for parallel parking, but it was
Yeah.
one time too many for side
for fuck's
parking.
sake. That's
I'm like,
stupid.
oh, this is bullshit. I called the state over that cunt. Like, no, she is a lying bitch.
You know what I got dinged for in my high school driving test that still pisses me off to this day? And I don't know what it's like in other states. Maybe this is just a state thing. But I was at an intersection. The light was red, and I was making a right-hand turn, right? So I turned right on red. And my instructor dinged me. And I said, why? He says, because did you see somebody across the street there? They just stepped into the crosswalk. That's illegal. And I was like, I have that happen to me every day. No one stops for me unless I'm in their line of drive when I'm in the crosswalk. Are you kidding? That's illegal? And he's like, yes, that is illegal. And you are dinged. You fail your test. Because I had a couple of other minor little things that happened earlier. So that was the thing that nuked me. And so ever since then, every time that I'm walking across the crosswalk from the far side and somebody's making a right-hand turn, I'm like, there's never a cop when you need one. And then, of course, when there's cops around, nobody, whoever, ever gets pulled over for that. I really want to know because I have never seen it happen, and it didn't even enter my brain that you could not turn through a crosswalk when someone was on the opposite side of the street and had just stepped into the crosswalk. It was bullshit.
My driving test, the road portion of it, I got 1 point off on the written because it said, "What do you do at a yellow?" And I said, "You go faster." And it's supposed to slow down to stop. But literally, I pulled out of the parking lot and took a right. I made rights all the way around the block, right back into the parking lot. That was the extent of my driving test.
Yeah.
Right off of Lynn Haven Boulevard there in Virginia Beach. Yeah, it was pretty easy. I passed with flying colors.
Jack Gunsky says, I was pulled over for that scribe light, but not ticketed. Oh, well, okay. I guess it does happen. I've never seen anyone get pulled over for making a right while someone's on the opposite side. Like if someone's in the middle of the crosswalk or coming in close, that can be annoying. At the same time, I've been cut off that way a million times. I've had nobody I've ever seen pulled over for it. So maybe it does happen once in a blue moon. Either way, guys, we're at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to turn it over to chat. Chat, it's your time. If you have questions, comments, complaints, conspiracy theories, wild accusations you'd like to make, please put them in the chat now. If it's a question for us, please put plenty of question marks afterwards so we know it's for us and you're not talking to somebody in chat.
Prospero says, Virginia Beach, I'm not surprised, Monkey. Yeah, I was actually surprised of how easy it was because I'd heard it was harder, but apparently I got a really lazy not instructor. What's the word? Evaluator. Yeah, we were in and out like that. It was funny because I was so nervous like you are when you go take your driver's test at 16.
I just got some bad news. I was trying to see if I could get I Think I'm Real on tonight. To fight with Monkey over Weibo's grandma. But apparently Real has just gotten out of class. I don't know what his school schedule is, but he was otherwise occupied, so maybe next time. Thank you, Diesel Dave. I had to parallel park my tractor trailer to get my commercial driver's license. Yikes.
Oh.
Yikes. I see those guys. There's a grocery store nearby, and when those delivery trucks show up and they have to do all these crazy athletics with an 18-wheeler to move it into a loading dock, I can't even imagine trying to do that and not lose my mind. Let's see. Jean-Pierre Polnareff. Please say my first and middle name the way you say JF's. Jean-Pierre, I guess. It's like Jean-Francois. How I love Jean-Francois.
We weren't actually talking about your grandma.
Not yet, anyway. Nothing for you here. Do you believe in nothing? That's a question to all of us.
Nope.
I believe in the nothing from the Never-Ending Story.
I believe nothing exists. Captain Brambles, thank you. Monkey, did you remember to ride Weebo's grandma today? I didn't. I did not ride it today. But after we got off the air last night, I did go for another mile. I woke up today, feel like somebody's beating the fuck out of me, so I had to rest. So I will do it again tomorrow.
Nope says, who wants to bet YouTube uses the shooting as the reason to have all gun channels banned?
Well, they don't have to because they've already banned them.
Pretty much banned most gun. It depends on what you're doing with the gun on camera, but yeah, most gun channels have been fucked over already because of Parkland. So
yeah, there's not much those guys can do, which sucks.
Green Death says, ranting monkey raped me, happened in a dream, can't disprove it. You have to listen and believe me.
It's not rape, you liked it.
Okay.
Prove it.
So, let's see. Duck Dog. I hate backing up the fire trucks because we are supposed to keep the lights on. Okay. Well, you wouldn't want to hit somebody with those. Jean-Pierre says, please talk about Cliffhangers starring Sylvester Stallone. John Lithgow, I can't take seriously as a villain, except for Raising Cain. Because, after Third Rock from the Sun and Buckaroo Banzai, it's really difficult to take John Lithgow seriously. He pulls it off a bit better now that he's older. But unless it's... Yeah.
Was excellent as the villain in season 4 of Dexter.
Or
season 3, whichever it was.
I'll take your word for it. I never watched Dexter.
Oh, he was creepily believable.
Well, if you've ever seen Raising Cain, a very little-known Brian De Palma movie with John Lithgow he's the protagonist, let's say. That was fucking creepy, and John Lithgow was great in that movie. I like John Lithgow in a lot of things, but it's sort of like trying to watch Bill Pullman in Serpent and the Rainbow after you've seen him as Lone Star. Really hard. It's really hard to take Bill Pullman seriously when you're thinking about Barf and Lone Star.
Nothing for you here asks me, what do I believe in? Or did he say, who do I believe in? I think it was what?
I believe in Monkey.
I believe in the infinite capability of people's stupidity.
There you go. Jack Gunsky says, Scribe, what about Blowout? Do you mean Blown Away? Because I'm sure there's a movie called Blowout, but when I think of action movies we'd go over, it'd be like Blown Away. Oh, John Travolta, Nancy Allen. Oh God. Oh, I remember that. Yeah. God, I haven't seen that movie in forever. It's not one from my sort of sentimental time frame, so I don't know that I'd vote for it for a movies you should have watched, but yeah. Blown Away is another one, though. Tommy Lee Jones and what's his butt? Jeff Bridges with a crazy bomber from Ireland comes to America and has a bunch of gimmicked bombs go off and stuff. Blow Up by Brian De Palma with John Lithgow as the killer. Oh, well, he gave that away. John Pierre says, favorite Rocky film? Oh, it's got to be Rocky 4.
It's a toss-up between 3 and 4. Probably 4 a little bit more because it's got Coming to America playing in it.
Living in America,
whatever it is.
Yeah, I will break you. Rocky 4 is just so quintessentially 80s cheese, but also got all the elements that are sort of stereotypically Rocky. It's just the best. It really is.
And if you watch those movies, especially 3, and then you see Apollo die in 4, it's heartbreaking.
It is. Yeah, because they really, because between, actually, if you watch, if you watch the first 4 in a row, if you really want to get the impact of Apollo's death, you really need to watch all of them to that point, because that really brings it home. But 3 definitely when they're doing their run on the beach and everything.
Yes.
Oh man. Let's see.
Yeah, you know what? I would give you 2 also. I don't think you have to watch 1 to get the impact as much, but 2 definitely, because Apollo's ego comes into it so much. Mm-hmm. And then 3, when he gives a speech, about how I lost by 1 second, Yeah, definitely 4. I'm with you on 4. Plus, I think 4 has better music.
Jim Healis says YouTube shooter has been identified as, and I checked this before I read it out loud. Nassim Agdam, Nassim.
She might have had a headscarf on.
Let's see. The woman came to the. I'm trying to see if there's anything like. Let's see. She didn't have a connection to YouTube, but had her own YouTube channel. Uh-oh.
Oh, what was her channel?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
I feel like a response videos do.
She often posted videos that included rants against the YouTube company. She was found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We already knew that.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Not that the shooting sounds good to begin with, but yeah, because they were talking about the boyfriend thing. Has that been proven yet?
That might be the case. I don't know yet. That seems to be the running theory at this point. I looked up her name on YouTube. I don't see anything about a channel. They might have already taken it down.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't already. But let's see. Harvos Marva says, I thought they kept saying she was a white woman. I don't know what she is. I haven't seen a picture of her. I've only got the name, and names can be anything. I knew a guy that changed his name to Santa Claus. Another guy that changed his name to Sherlock Holmes. So we'll find out as we go on.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about white woman. I just heard woman.
Yeah, woman. Let's see. Data Wasteland says, I like Travolta in Phenomenon. Phenomenon, it wasn't bad.
Cheese.
Like Phenomenon and Powder came out around the same time, and they had sort of like similar vibe to them with like you got somebody who's got like supernatural powers and the trying to operate in the real world. But like John Travolta also had like Michael come out around the same time where he was the fallen angel.
Oh yeah.
So like John Travolta was doing a lot of weird sort of sentimental gobbledygook at that time. I can't help but look at some of those movies and not think, is this some kind of Scientology recruiting device?
Well, he did a lot of movies around that time for friends who were directors and stuff.
That's true.
So I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, but
well, I mean, after having his career, which was nothing, resurrected by Quentin Tarantino. I'm sure he would take anything that came along just in case the gravy train stopped again. Let's see.
Yeah, because I believe it was Primary Colors that he did just because he knew the director, and he did it. I don't want to say at scale, but really low.
Yeah, it was a relatively low budget movie with the star power they had.
Yeah,
and that wasn't a bad movie. I mean, it was all right.
The book was so much better as
of course. Yeah. Let's see. Weebo Jones, what are your thoughts on Gotham? I watched 2 episodes of the first season when it first came out, and I said, this is stupid.
I actually like it, but I've separated it completely from like all the lore and the like comics. Like I've shut all that down, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch this for it, and as a show in itself, divorced from all of the source material, I like it.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't. I guess I'm on the opposite side of things. When I saw Alfred yelling at Bruce in a Cockney accent and basically swearing at him and everything, I'm like, this isn't proto Batman. And then they had like little girl Poison Ivy and all this other stuff, and I thought, everybody's going to be waiting for Batman to show up, and he's not going to show up because he's a little kid. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I was going to say something, and it just suddenly escaped my mind. I don't know. Oh, the guy who played the Penguin. Now, the Penguin was, for the couple episodes that I saw, he was the best part of the whole show. I thought he should be the star of the fucking show. I thought it should just be Gotham, and you should follow the Penguin around for every episode.
It basically becomes that. Like, it gets to the point to where Penguin, like, because, in Batman or whatever, at some point, the Penguin becomes mayor or whatever.
Yes.
And once that starts happening, you get to see his like acting ability really come out. Like, I really like that dude. He was in I think he was in a movie called Would You Rather, and he was also in The Walking Dead for a little bit. I like him a lot.
Oh yeah, no, he was the best part of it. He was the best actor in the show next to Jada Pinkett at that point.
Oh yeah, he is definitely the star of the show, and Nigma when that actually happens, the dude who plays the Riddler, he is excellent in that show too.
The thing that I guess bugs me most is just that, like I said, you can separate yourself from the lore. I just kept thinking, like, okay, if this is supposed to be like prequel to Batman, all of his enemies are going to be elderly by the time he's old enough to fight them, because the Penguin's already in his like late 20s, early 30s. So is the Riddler, and like it's just so I don't know. I couldn't get into it. It just seems so overblown. What about Jerome, says Weibo? They're bringing Jerome back. Yeah, are they going to finally admit that he's the Joker? I mean, I know a little bit about the show, even though I haven't watched a whole lot of episodes. I
ain't seen none of it.
A lot of people probably won't agree with me, but I think that's one of the best Jokers I've seen. Like, and you know, as far as his basic performance and putting him in more of a kind of like a humanized state, I'm like, this is probably the best way they could have did it.
Well, I've seen clips of his appearances in the show, like when he first sort of reveals himself and other things, and when he gets his face torn off and all that. His delivery of the character is like he watched Jack Nicholson in Batman over and over again, and then threw in a little bit Heath Ledger. So it's kind of an amalgam of how
it is like a
carries
mix of
himself.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and I really noticed it. There was a clip they just put out for the new season where they're like escaping from Arkham or something. And he starts talking, and I'm just like, okay, that's like Christian Slater doing Jack Nicholson right there. Scribe Light, check your Twitter. Okay. What am I looking for on my Twitter?
What's on your Twitter?
There's
boobs?
It's a website for her. Oh, is that her?
Who?
The shooter.
Oh, shooter chick.
This video is unavailable. Yeah, they must have totally nuked her channel, because the video link doesn't work anymore. If this is her, here, Monkey, I'll tweet it to you. If this is her, I guess that's what she looks like, or looked like. Probably not so much anymore. My official channels: YouTube Farsi, YouTube Turkish. What? Yeah, this account has been terminated due to multiple or severe violation. Yeah, so her entire repertoire at this point has probably been nuked by YouTube, and I'm not surprised at all.
Now she's cosplaying as Kurt Cobain.
Oh,
what? What'd I say?
Oh, that's dark. That's dark. she didn't use a shotgun, Monkey.
Oh yeah, true.
Wait, no. Her handmaid's channel is still up. Here, I'll tweet that to you, Monkey. Monkey and Satsu. Okay, her channels is still up, and it's all about fashion and stuff, where she's like modeling things or something, or showing off jewelry and stuff. Don't know, but anyway. So, if that is her,
do you see what it says at the top of her channel there? Her banner
got filtered and demonetized by YouTube.
What's up, Matt?
Hey, Monday Matt, how's it going?
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they found you at the YouTube building.
Yeah, I'm glad they recovered.
Sorry, dude,
you
that
safely.
one made me laugh.
Yeah, it was darkly funny for a moment, and the fact that guy got completely nuked. The guy who like started that got nuked off Twitter, I guess, as a result for harassment or something. But yeah, apparently at least one of her channels is still active. I don't know about YouTube English. Nope, that one's gone. Her Facebook account, her Facebook is still there. Okay, so if she got the pictures of her, she looks like a mannequin. I mean, really,
she has a mannequin that looks like her. I'm watching this one.
Maybe that's it.
By the way, guys, you can buy jewelry made by her. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyhow.
She's
got an Adam's apple like a beast. Man, looks like she's got a dick in there.
So if that is her, or
if it's not, man, that's horribly
facsimile of her.
That's wrong for what people are doing. Yeah. Anyway,
let's see. Yeah, there's some videos that have been uploaded to her Facebook channel or page that you can still watch, even though they're probably off of YouTube at this point, or at least some of them are. So anyway, what is this?
Remember,
Zombie
guys,
music video in Turkish. Okay.
if you get a link in chat and it doesn't work, go up to the link on the page that doesn't work, backspace at the very end of the address, and then hit enter.
Yeah, there's an invisible character that can show up there sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Proceeds go to her burial. James. Let's see. Delete the last character. Yeah. That's if you guys are having problems. We have any other comments, concerns, questions? Yeah, it's terminated now. That's horrible language, Harvos.
Har, har, har.
You know, I watched Terminator 3 for the first time last night. It's not good.
The only credit I will give it is the ending I didn't quite see coming.
I thought the ending was excellent.
Yeah, the ending was really good.
Which I already knew the end of it.
Okay.
Because I read spoilers.
Well, I saw it in the theater, so I saw it before there were any spoilers or anything. And yeah, the whole movie is just so dumb. And I mean, it's basically making fun of its own franchise for most of it, which is not how you do that. But the ending, I was really surprised by, because it's not often that they will effectively put in a downbeat end to these things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was. It was like, oh, and so yeah.
I keep going. I'm sorry.
No, I was done.
I don't think it's downbeat. I really don't. The whole point of the series is that he survives, which he does.
Yes.
And that's been the point of the series since the first one. My problem with this movie is, even for a Terminator movie, there was just so much. I don't want to say too much action, but there was too much action in this movie. The chase scenes. Oh my dear God. The one goes on for like 15 minutes. You don't need a 15-minute fucking chase scene.
I thought the truck scene.
Oh, that was too much.
It was a bit too long, but I thought it was well done, even though, like, if you just take it on its own merits as a centerpiece or a showpiece, it was well directed, well put together. What I meant by downbeat was, I mean, the bad guys won.
But did they?
Well, they blew up the world. That's kind of the bad guys winning. You know, it does make for a logical move towards Terminator Salvation, which is another awful movie.
I still haven't seen that either.
Oh, God.
Somebody's asking what my favorite Star Wars character is, and I don't know.
There you go.
I've never watched any of those movies to completion.
My favorite characters are Zuckuss and Forlom, the droid and the Gand bounty hunters in Empire Strikes Back, because their little side story in Tales of the Bounty Hunters anthology novel, which of course is now Legends and not really canon, but fuck you, Disney, made them much cooler characters than just them showing up on that one scene.
Han Solo, hands down, best Star Wars character.
We'll see what happens after this movie.
Nope. I only acknowledge A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi as canon. So everything else is shit.
Force Awakens doesn't count for you.
No. That is Star Wars fanfic is what that shit is.
Ranting Monkey, have you seen the Han Solo movie trailer? Says Jean-Pierre.
No, I haven't.
Someone took the Han Solo trailer and put it to Sabotage by Beastie Boys. That makes it about 20 times better than the actual trailer. It doesn't provide me any further confidence that the movie itself is going to turn out to be that great, but I guess we'll see. It'll probably be one of the first Star Wars movies I don't make it a point to go see on opening day. I made sure I've seen every Star Wars movie that they've released in the theaters on opening day, even when they re-released the original trilogy. And all the prequels and Force Awakens and Last Jedi and Rogue One. But this one, unless somebody tells me in some kind of preview screening or something that it's like the best thing since sliced bread, I'm probably not going to give a shit.
I'm tired of them going back and redoing stuff. Just get on with new stuff.
Yeah, go Knights of the Old Republic or or honestly, what I really want to see is either a TV show or a movie that just deals with the underworld. I want 1313, the video game that they never made, to be turned into like a thing where there's no Jedi, there's no Force. It's just, the seedy, noir, dark underworld of Star Wars on Coruscant or something. I've always wanted to have just some kind of crime story in the Star Wars universe that wasn't all high-minded and military. But, we're not going to see it probably. Let's see. But what else we got? Looking for Kelvin says, I want the Knights of Ren. Boy, Ryan Johnson just didn't give a shit about those characters. They made a big mysterious deal about him in Force Awakens. And then, yeah, Kylo Ren is the master of the Knights of Ren. What is that? Who gives a shit? It's like, okay, thanks, Ryan Johnson, you jerk.
That's how I feel pretty much about all of Kylo Ren. Who gives a shit? He is the worst villain in Star Wars.
I blame J.J. Abrams for turning him into like a comic character in the first movie. It's like you can't make, first off, the bad guy shouldn't take off his mask that early on into the story. Secondly, having those stormtroopers like stop, turn around, and walk away when he's throwing his tantrum turned your villain into a point of comedy, which you don't want to do. There's so much they did wrong with him from the get-go, and they didn't improve anything with Last Jedi. Corey Suzuki says, Scribe Light, I heard Dengar, one of the bounty hunters, was hurt by Han Solo in some sort of speeder race. Well, Dengar's got, depending on which version you read, Dengar's the guy who actually rescued Boba Fett from the Sarlacc pit and ended up being like, either he was the best man at Boba Fett's wedding or something like that. And Dengar's got a kind of a convoluted backstory, but he's interesting. He's still not my favorite. Joys of Sorrow, Ventress was a shit character. They took her off in some weird directions by the end of her run, making her a Night Sister of Dathomir, which was kind of weird. Also making Darth Maul a Night Brother and completely trashing his original origin story, which was much better. Yeah. Scribelight, I want KOTOR 3, says Diesel Dave. I think the closest you're going to get is the Old Republic MMO. I would be amazed if they ever went back to the KOTOR 3 thing, or actually made any sequel to it with the way they've changed canon at this point.
Whoa, Jack, I missed that one. Jack says, her link video assortment is crazy. Veganism, risks of anal sex, Paul Joseph Watson, seemingly unrelated. I missed the joys of anal sex. The risk of anal sex one, I'll have to check again.
Jean-Pierre says, I thought the Sarlacc pit couldn't digest Mandalorian armor. Well, they came up with a lot of reasons why Boba Fett survived that. I don't even know what the canon explanation is at this point. One of them is that he was able to hit off his rocket, his jetpack. Another one is that Dengar saved him. A whole bunch of stuff.
That's part of what I have a problem with them. They killed cool characters and they keep trying to bring them back. Like Darth Maul, he was so underused in Phantom Menace. Mm-hmm. And then they just, he survived getting cut in half by a fucking lightsaber.
Well,
Boba Fett, he survived that pit that nobody lives through. Fuck off, they're dead. Leave them dead.
Darth Maul.
Do not try to make sense of that stupid shit.
I'm not trying to make sense of it, but what they did with the character in the show thereafter was really cool. They didn't tease it. Character. No, they expanded on what little there was to begin with. And his fight with Obi-Wan on Rebels was, as a standalone scene, it was probably one of the best ways you could ever exit a character, and how he should have been exited from the whole story in the first place. But
he got cut in half. Just leave it be.
They didn't, and so I have to take what they did with it on its own merits. And yeah, his survival's stupid, but what they did with him afterwards kind of worked. I understand. I'm not disagreeing with you that his survival is dumb, but they did it, and so all I can do is judge what they did with the character thereafter, and it was compelling in some places. It really was.
I'm waiting to find out that Rey is accidentally dating her dad or something. They've ruined Star Wars.
Oh yeah, no, they've done a lot of questionable things. But Darth Maul surviving is not nearly as egregious a violation as The Last Jedi as an entire concept was. I mean, Darth Maul surviving is a sneeze, whereas Last Jedi is the fucking bubonic plague. Your boy Pat says Rey is a Mary Sue. She certainly is. People say she's not. Yeah, watch Force Awakens. People making excuses for how she was able to do all the stuff she did. Yeah, whatever.
What else we got going on in chat? We nerded it up there for a little bit.
Why wasn't Boba Fett affected by Order 66? Well, he wasn't a Jedi, and he wasn't a clone soldier. He was independent. He wouldn't have been. And he was, and you know, if you want to make the argument, oh, he was a clone like all the other clones, yeah, but he was clone that was born naturally, so he wasn't given the programming that all the other clones were.
Joy says Rey is Jar Jar's daughter.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Aaron Medley says killing Snoke. What the fuck? Yeah, I mean everything about The Last Jedi was just absolutely like bullshit.
I figured out Rey. I just figured out Rey because of this conversation.
You tell.
So Darth Maul got cut in half and falls down this big shaft, right?
Yes.
And they save him by saving his upper torso and like putting it on a robot-y thing.
Yeah.
So what happened is his lower torso,
somebody
saved and took to Tatooine, and people were fucking it, and that's how she ended up born. She was the lower half of Darth Maul's body.
Dude,
made Rey.
That is hilarious.
Somebody raped Darth Maul's stump.
Yes.
Jesus, monkey.
It is no worse than him being alive after.
Jean-Pierre says, who the fuck is Snoke? Jean-Pierre, no one knows, and no one's going to care because they introduced him and killed him unceremoniously. It doesn't matter. He's almost like everything in The Last Jedi could have been a side plot that happened in between movies, and it wouldn't have made any difference. Like they end up in exactly the same place as they did at the beginning of the movie or at the end of Force Awakens. They don't have Luke. Snoke is off somewhere and not interacting with anybody. Yeah, the whole movie was such bullshit. And they're still employing Rian Johnson. They're putting him in charge of the next set of movies. It's just...
Jack Gansky said, it's good. We can still fuck it.
I'll get some of those midichlorians. Let's see.
Trolling for Mallcock.
Let's see. Alice Morgan says, Scribe like nobody who used to a bow staff would have used a lightsaber like that. I don't know. Yeah. Star Wars stuff.
Neither of us are actually defending the stupidity, even if it sounds like we are.
No, I can't defend stupid decisions or stupid plot points and things like that. I'm such a Star Wars fan, though, that there's a lot of things I will forgive for the sake of just more Star Wars. And that's kind of how I let a lot of things go, or at least grit my teeth sort of thing with the prequels. But ever since Force Awakens, I just, no, like this doesn't, there are moments that are kind of cool in Force Awakens. There are concepts that I don't have a problem with. But the execution of Force Awakens, and everything about The Last Jedi is just such a punch in the face to everything that's been established in the whole franchise. I have no hope for it anymore. I really don't.
Beth says, I haven't seen The Last Jedi yet. I love Star Wars. I really do. And I've watched all of the movies. And even Rogue One and The Force Awakens, those were movies I cringed through. But yeah. I didn't hate them the way I hate The Last Jedi. That was so bad.
It's an insult. It is like taking everything that should have been so about. I mean, and not even like the events per se, even though those are awful. But it really comes down to the characters, and especially Luke Skywalker. Before The Last Jedi came out, I had my own idea of where that story was going to go based on what we knew in The Force Awakens, and I was so pissed off with how that happened. I could go on for that for maybe we'll do a rant sometime, but guys, we're at the top of the hour. Sorry that we went off on a tangent about Star Wars and everything. Missed a lot of questions. I know that things going on, but it happens. We get passionate about these things.
But we solved the mystery of Rey.
And we solved the mystery of Rey. Yes, she's the stump baby of Darth Maul's legs. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming out tonight. You are the best audience on YouTube. Thank you, moderators, for keeping an eye on things. Although our audience is probably one of the most, in relative terms to the kind of stuff that we do here, relatively well behaved. We don't have a lot of work for the moderators most nights.
Yeah, most nights, no.
Quick shout out to I Think I'm Real for at least considering coming on tonight. Quick shout out to Mundane Matt for saying hello. And all condolences to you being targeted as the shooter earlier. That sucks. Tomorrow night, guys, we'll be on Monkey's channel per usual. And otherwise, Monkey, Satsu, thank you for joining me as always. Guys, your lives make us sad. We will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.